Hey guys, here with the last video on our Between the War chapter. In this case, we're looking at what is happening in Germany after World War I. And I definitely know this is one of those videos and topics that people have been waiting all year to find out about. In this case, we're looking at what events led to the rise of the Nazi Party and Hitler in Germany. So, after World War I, as we studied, we have the Treaty of Versailles. One of the big punishments of the Treaty of Versailles is the fact that Germany has to pay for the war. Well, when they start paying, that's going to lead to a Great Depression because it's just way too much money for them to spend. Way more money than any country in the world even had. But to pay for the war and the reparations, Germany simply decided to print more money. However, the more money that's printed, the less it's worth. Pretty soon, the German mark will become worthless. And if you ever take economics, you'll kind of learn about why it's not a good thing to always print more money. But that's just the case, be it as it may. So, with it becoming worthless, here's an example. A 50 million mark banknote printed in 1923. By the way, a banknote is just essentially money. It was worth $1. In 1914, it would have been worth $12 million if you were to exchange, thanks to exchange rates. It'd be worth about $12 million. 9 years later, I'm sorry, that 50 million bank mark is worth $1. A woman burning money for heat because it was cheaper than buying firewood. A loaf of bread cost 200 billion marks for one loaf of bread. Here you have children just playing with the money, not acting like anything, acting like it's not important. Here's another guy using dollar bills as essentially paint, essentially like newspaper kind of thing, covering it up, using it to cover windows. Children playing with it. People not even bother to pick it up off the street if it's there. There's clean. They see this guy cleaning it up. Making matters worse, Germany defaults on some of its reparations due to the currency crisis, and so France occupied important German industrial areas. So, whenever Germany decided to stop paying some of the reparations, France decided, well, if you're not going to pay, then we're going to take over your territory. And that's what they did. Thanks to some currency reform, we're not going to get specific, some restructuring and American loans, Germany's economy will pick up. However, by this point, people had become completely dissatisfied with the government that they had set up. So, in 1923, a new political party led by a former general corporal tried capitalizing on the economic problems and pretty much the humiliating feeling that the Treaty of Versailles has given the German people, and he attempts a coup d'etat in what's called the beer hall push. And there's that young man himself, Mr. Adolf Hitler. The attempt is unsuccessful, and he will be thrown into prison. While he's there, he'll write a book called Mein Kampf, and we'll read part of it in class. This essentially outlines his future plans, details the ideology of the Nazi Party, what they believed, and as you would imagine, it's very anti-Semitic or anti-Jew. This experience, though, it teaches a young Hitler that violent revolution is not the way to go. What he needs to do is get the people on his side and elected into office. Here's a copy, the title, the cover of his book. Now, he will also be 1938 Times Man of the Year as well. Going with this, I'm going to take you back to the election thing. Now, it's commonly thought of that Hitler was very popular whenever he was elected, whenever he will be elected as the leader of Germany. But actually, that wasn't the case. In reality, he only won 32% of the vote, not anywhere close to a majority that you think he would have had with how popular people thought he was. The only reason he was able to win any power is because there were about 4 candidates that were competing against him. So, unfortunately, those 4 candidates split the vote, and Hitler winds up with the majority. So, just hoping to clearing up that little misconception that many people had that he was this super popular person when he was elected. That super popularity will come, and he will become very popular amongst the German people. But at first, he was not very popular. He just barely won any kind of political power. But that is how he will essentially, that sets us up for how Hitler would take charge and become leader of Germany. So until next time, guys, I will talk to you later.